Thanks for joining for the webinar on accelerating order to cash insights with Qlik Solutions. This is a webinar organized by GainInsights in coordination with Qlik team. So Qlik is a solution provider and GainInsights is an implementation partner having huge experience or expertise in the Qlik product. That's the reason why we have collaborated and came for this session. And in this session, we'll be discussing about the accelerator, which is provided as part of Qlik. A quick introduction about the speaker. Myself, Shivanandam. I'm leading a data engineering practice for GainInsights. And I'm having Ashpath Raj. He's a senior solution architect in Qlik. We'll be taking up this session. Right. Moving on to the agenda. So in today's discussion, we'll be discussing the expectation in a modern decision-making data system. What are the challenges in setting up the system and our approach in addressing the issues? How are we going to address this issue? Is like we'll be making use of the feature of the product available in Qlik. That's the real-time streaming solution. We'll talk about the streaming solution, its capability. Followed by that, we'll be having a demonstration on the accelerator, which is provided by Qlik. And in fact, to be very specific, it's the SAP accelerator, which is related to order to cash. We'll have a detailed demonstration on the accelerator. Followed by that, we'll be having a product overview, which will explain you the various other capabilities which the tool is having, and the use cases where we can see how best this can fit in your requirement. And few information about the capabilities of GainInsights, and we'll have the Q&A session towards the end. However, you can post the queries in the chat when you are having any questions with you. Right. And I'm just moving on to the next slide. So here comes the key criteria, the expectation from a modern decision-making system. So the first criteria would be like we would be expecting the data from multiple disparate source system in a single data platform. That will be a ideal or a primary requirement to do any sort of analysis. And the second thing is like the data needs to be in the real time. So in the traditional approach, we'll be having data in batch load, meaning either we'll be having data once in a day or we'll be having twice in a day or in a defined frequency. Could be once in an hour or it could be anything. So, but in the modern system, we are expecting data to be near real time or real time, which will help in taking any sort of decision. So that's the second key expectation which we are putting it over here. And the next one is how easy to consume the data. Like we are moving towards a journey where the end user or the business user should have access to the data. This is a way in which we can enable self-service BI. People should have access to their data, which is respected to them with certain restriction, with proper governance, everything in place. They should get access to the data. That's one of the key criteria. So being said, all this expectation, we'll see how is this creating an impact, or we'll take SAP as an example and see how difficult it is to set up the system in SAP. Okay, I'm listing down a few of the challenges and we'll see how it is getting addressed by our solution. The first criteria is like we need to integrate data from multiple source system. Especially if it is SAP, integrating SAP data with non-SAP data is a key challenge, right? The data ingestion will happen in a different way. We need to understand the business, how the data is getting organized in SAP, pulling out data from the SAP system without impacting the source system. There are a lot of issues, especially when we are dealing with SAP, and we do accept that there are certain issues which is there with all the source system. So integrating data, this is the first key issues which we are foreseeing. And the next one is agility in transforming data for analytics. Right. However, we have created a connection to the source system, ingested data. How are we going to do the transformation? How frequently we are getting the data? So that's the next challenge. And the last challenge is dependency on the technical teams. Especially with SAP, whenever there is a data need, we have to either reach out to the technical team, could be a development team or an admin team. So these are all the key challenges with respect to SAP. We'll try to keep SAP as an example, and we'll try to see things in a generic way, meaning the solution will be explained in terms of SAP, and we can see how best this can be fit into other environment also. So that is how we will be looking in the other slides also. So just a quick recap. So we have covered what are all the key expectation in a data platform, and what are all the key challenges in the existing system. So moving on, let's see how this is getting addressed by the Qlik solution. Qlik data integration is the solution which is provided by Qlik, which is doing the data extraction, data transformation, setting up a data platform, providing the consumption layer. These are all the key offerings from the Qlik. Let's see how this is helping us in addressing the issues whatever we have discussed so far. Like, this tool is having a capability to integrate with SAP ECC hosted on any environment. It could be on DB2, Oracle, SQL. In fact, SAP ECC on HANA can be connected. Even if it is a runtime license, we can make use of the accelerator which is provided by Qlik. So these are some of the key features which is available as part of the product. And this is something which is generic to the other tool also. Like we can connect to any of the relational database. We can connect to file system. We can connect to ERP, mainframe. As mentioned in the first section, we can connect to any of these systems. That's the first part of the activity. The second one is we need to propagate, or we need to migrate data from this source system to the target system. So as part of data migration, what can be done? One is that schema creation can be automated, DDL changes can be automated, meaning it's not only the data which is created in the source system is migrated to the target. It's like whatever changes done to the structure will also get replicated over there. Like DDL will be moved to the target system. In fact, we can create a transformation to a certain extent. We can create a batch or near real time. So these things can be achieved by using the Qlik replicate product. Now we have seen the source and the transformation part. The last part I would say is the data platform. We can push data to a cloud storage or in an on-prem storage. It could be to Kafka. We can do streaming from the target also. A file system can be used. So these are all the supported target system. We'll see the detailed supported endpoints in the upcoming slide, right? So this is the overall flow, and in general, a solution should have certain feature or capability which will help in addressing this issue. To name few, zero footprint architecture, agentless log-based architecture. These are some of the key feature which is available. Meaning agentless log-based CDC. I would give an example on this, or rather I would elaborate a bit on this. Meaning QDI will rely only on the logs. It will not rely. It will not make use of any other feature in the source system. It will not tax the source system. It will not touch the database at all. It will not run any select query, or it will not impact the performance of the source system. That is one of the key feature. And we don't have to install any agent, or we don't have to have any plugin in the source system. So these are certain key criteria. We have listed down many things. Let's see it in the demo. I'm just moving on to the next one. So being said that, I have told that there is a product available in Qlik and there is an accelerator available in Qlik. And how is it getting implemented? So what is the approach in doing that? We would see it as a bundle of product, or we can see it as a package itself. In the package, the first thing is the extractor. The main objective of the extractor is to connect to the source system, read the data, pull the data from the source system. That's the first step towards it, and that will be taken care as part of this extractor. This extractor is a pre-built object that will be available in the package. The second one is now we have taken the data from the source system that has to be pushed to somewhere. For that, we need to perform the replicate activity. So that will also be automated as part of this accelerator. This will be available in the bundle. And the next are the very key or complex activities like the model creation. Model creation in the sense, in general, when we want to create a model, it needs a lot of activity. Like we need to understand the source system. We need to understand the data model, underlying data model, what are all the business logic. So all those things has to be done from the scratch, and we need to create a model. But as part of the accelerator, we'll be having a pre-built model which is created based on the standard implementation which is available in SAP. And the next step is the custom data mart creation, meaning if there is a custom requirement, we can go ahead and create data marts on our own, and we can catalog the information which is available in the data warehouse or a lake or a data mart, so that that can be used by the end user for the consumption. And the final layer is the app layer or the consumption layer, where the end user can connect to the data platform and get the data. As part of this accelerator, we are providing apps created using Qlik and Power BI. In fact, the capability is like any BI system can connect to the data platform and make use of the data. But as part of the accelerator, these things are already available. So this is the standard implementation approach, or this is the content of the package, I would say, right? And next comes the data movement. Like we have seen multiple things in the package, right? How it is getting organized. That's what we are seeing it here. The first phase is the source system, meaning we have to identify the source system. Second thing is using Qlik data integration. We need to extract data and we need to put it in the target layer. And followed by that, we need to automate the data warehouse or the data lake creation. That will be done by Compose. And then comes the analytics layer, which is for the end user or for the consumers. And we have listed on few accelerators which is available in Qlik readily. Some of them are order to cash analytics, financial analytics, inventory analytics. We will see in detail about the order to cash analytics. What are all the tables or what are all the information which is available as part of this order to cash analytics, the data model behind the order to cash functionality. So those things can be covered as part of the demo. On a high level, it's like right from the order creation till the payment, including shipment, invoice, credit management. All the information will be extracted and modeled in such a way that it can be consumed by the end user in an efficient way. Let's have a demo on how the order to cash flow is working. Ashwath, over to you.
Thank you, Shiva. I'm sharing my screen. Hope my screen is visible. Shiva, can you give a confirmation?
Yeah.
So in this demo session, we are going to walk across the entire flow, which Shiva just explained. That is the first part of taking the data from the SAP systems. And here today specifically, we are going to talk about the SAP accelerators. So this session's focus is going to be on the order to cash process. First, I'll be explaining on how we are going to take the data from the extractors that are relevant to order to cash. Then once we take that data, we land it into a Snowflake target. As we saw in the slides previously, the target could be in a different platform as well. But in this case, in this demo, we'll be using a Snowflake. Once we land that data from SAP into Snowflake, how the relevant data warehouse and data marts are very quickly built using the SAP accelerators that we provide at Qlik. That is something we'll go through as a second step. And finally, we'll go through how the ready-made template app or the template dashboard for the order to cash can be utilized for further analysis from the dashboarding or the BI layer. So the screen that you are currently looking at is the Qlik replicate screen. As part of the accelerator, we have predefined set of tasks which will have the set of extractors relevant to order to cash already pre-built into it. For example, I have two different set of accelerators present over here. You see inventory management, and then there is also order to cash. So in the order to cash, for example, if we go and click over here, the accelerator, you can think of accelerator as this way. It is a plug and play kind of platform. Instead of users, whether IT or the business users, trying to find what are all the relevant extractors that would be required for an order to cash analysis, rather than then trying to find all that, in this SAP accelerator, which is the order to cash, we have everything pre-built, so that all you need to do is just take this task, define the target endpoint, and all the relevant extractors will be moved into the target system. And that's what is shown over here as well. On the right hand side, you can see the list of, here it is shown as tables, but in our case, this is nothing but the extractors. All the extractors that are relevant to order to cash are listed over here. So it becomes a plug and play scenario, like I said, where you can just deploy, replicate, use this accelerator, which is the pre-built set of tasks, and that will point to all the relevant extractors, and the data will be then moved from the source system into the target system. So this saves the effort in building something from the scratch, because we are already providing the task with the pre-built set of extractors. So again, like I said, it's just a plug and play. So we can save a lot of time that goes into development. Okay. So the first step, we are moved from the SAP extractor to the Snowflake, and we can even see the how much of the data has been moved overall for each of the extractors into the different target systems, the number of records, all that has been already moved into the target system. And this entire process is not just a one time. As any changes keep happening at the source level, that is at SAP, let's say you are inserting any you are changing some orders, the details are changed, quantity of order is changed, or let's say the billing location is modified, or a new order is placed. As the data keeps changing, that is, any new records are inserted, any existing record is updated, or any old records are deleted. As those changes are happening, those will be captured in a near real-time fashion, and Replicate will capture the change and move that into the Snowflake as target. So this is how, pointing to the challenge which Shiva had mentioned in the beginning of the slide, we can ensure that we can get the data in very quickly in a near real-time fashion, to ensure that the actionable insights are also taken immediately. So the first step is on with respect to the accelerator. These set of predefined tasks, which are part of the SAP order to cash accelerator, enable the movement of data from the SAP system into the target. And as I mentioned, the target can be a Snowflake, or it can be any other, even local RDBMS, or into a data lake, can be even a streaming kind of platform. So that's the flexibility that comes with Replicate. But now coming very specific to the just the order to cash accelerator, we have moved the data into the target system, and we'll be able to see, if we go into the Snowflake, the same set of tables. If you see, you have the customer ATTR, text, employee ATTR, these are all the extractors. We have the same set of tables also created in the Snowflake layer. Now, the data as is from the extractor has been moved into the target system. Now, the second step comes where we have to build the data warehouse and the data mart, so that it is ready for consumption. It is in a layer that can be consumed by further analytical teams. Now, again, one challenge that comes here is, since we have a lot of data coming from SAP, and there are a lot of extractors and tables that are involved, how do we exactly handle the modeling? Because it becomes quite complex, right? And that's where our accelerator solution, again, just emphasizing on it, accelerator is a pre-built set of solutions that are available, where you can just plug into your SAP system, and we take care of all the data movement part and the modeling part, and finally building the data mart also. As you can see in this screen, this is a very complex data model of all the tables that are coming, that are with respect to order to cash. Now, if someone were to bring all these tables and had to do the modeling manually, it will take a lot of time, and it will also take a lot of development cost. And another thing, it also, if we take off a scenario where business users want some insights immediately, but then the development has just started, uh, and they're trying to figure out the model, then that again is going to take a lot of time to complete the modeling and then provide the ready-made data sets to the business user. So this basically hampers the immediate requirements that the business teams might have. So that's where the accelerator, the order to cash accelerator, with respect to Compose, where it automates the data modeling, warehouse, and mart creation, it already has the pre-built model created. Because if you see with SAP, the extractors that are used are common across all the customers, because the set of tables are standard, the extractors are standard. So what we have done is we have taken those extractors and we have defined the modeling, what has to be done for those set of standard extractors or tables. So that's what you see over here, and we can easily track how each table is related to other tables that are available. Here now these are actually tables, but at the SAP layer these were actually extractors, right? So the first thing that the accelerator helps here is to simplify the process of the modeling, because the modeling is already taken care of. It is already pre-built, and you can just plug it and start using it. Of course, if you have any new Z tables, any customized Z tables, those tables can also be brought in, and you can manually map those Z tables to this existing set of tables that are already predefined. So the key advantage that comes here is the to if time to time taken to build a model is cut down, because it is already readily available. So you can just quickly deploy it and provide the insights for the other teams. Not only on the pre-built modeling part, but what we also do is kind of make the life of business users easy. What I'm talking about is, if you notice the different columns that are available over here, there are the standard SAP names, SAP call field names, MANDT, ADR, and R. But these are not very easily understandable by all the business users. So since these names are standard, we have also added the business friendly names for each of the fields. So instead of manually renaming the fields or creating a separate description for every field, we have already created the business friendly names for the field, so that it is easy for the users who are using these fields in the downstream applications. So this is the second advantage with the accelerator, uh, with respect to the order to cash accelerator. The third thing what happens is, to build the data warehouse, whatever SQL codes are required. Now we have taken a Snowflake, right? Whatever SQL codes are required, queries are required to build a table, handle the surrogate key, or handle the slowly changing dimensions. All those SQL queries are automatically generated by Compose. And these SQL queries that are generated are optimized to the platform it runs on. And in our case, it is Snowflake. So the SQL queries that are run are optimized to run on Snowflake, and this will ensure that we can quickly build the data warehouse tables. For example, I'll show you one of the examples of the tables that are created. If I take this table BAHDR that has been created as part of the data warehouse, now you can see we have that table available here in the Snowflake from the data warehouse. So the third step is whatever SQL codes are required that are usually manually written to build the data warehouse, those are quickly and automatically generated by Compose so that the data warehouse process is quickly completed. Once you build the data warehouse, then comes the final part for the consumption layer. That is where the advantage comes for the business users. Now, we may have several tables. We may have hundreds of tables. Now, when someone wants to understand, they want to ask questions about, let's say, billing documents. How would a user know, whether it's an IT user or a business user, how would they know what are the tables that are relevant for the analysis on the billing documents? So that's where we also provide ready-made data marts. When I say we provide, we generate the data marts just like the data warehouse. The data marts are created in the Snowflake layer. For example, with respect to the billing documents, we can see what are all the tables that are part of the billing documents. Same way for open sales orders, you can again see. So if some user wants to come and analyze the open sales orders, they now would know what are all the tables that they need to use to make the analysis. Not only just providing the data as is from the source, if you want to create any custom calculations, that is also possible. What I mean by that is, if we take sales order metrics, for example, we can also pre-build some calculations at the data mart layer. As you can see here, there are aggregations and then there are calculations done for different set of KPIs and measures shown over here, like count, distinct operations, and sum. So this will ensure that any calculations that are to be done need not necessarily be done at the BI layer, but are handled at the data mart level itself. So the overall process that you saw now, the modeling was ready. It was already pre-built. The complex SAP technical names were converted into business-friendly names, easily understandable by non-SAP users. Whatever SQL queries are required to build the data warehouse, those were automatically generated by Compose, and the data warehouse is built. And finally, the data mart tables required for different analysis with respect to order to cash, as what we saw over here. These are also readily now available. So as a development, if you see, we need not do anything from scratch, as these are readily available in the templates. We just plug it into the SAP system, and then we can just execute these tasks. Once the data marts are available, then comes the consumption layer, where we have ready-made template apps in Qlik Sense, and we also have it in for even Power BI. You can also connect from the data mart layer. If at all you want to connect to any other platform for any other downstream application, that is also possible. So the data mart, whatever we created in the Snowflake, right, that data mart are utilized in this pre-built template app in Qlik Sense, what you see here. This is with respect to, again, the order to cash. This entire flow, what we have seen from replicate, which is the place where we took the data from SAP, to the Compose, where we build the data warehouse, marts, everything, to the final consumption layer on the BI. All these three ready-made templates constitute the order to cash accelerator, what was mentioned by Shiva previously in the slides. Now we are in the final layer, that is the consumption layer. So from these template apps, what are the analysis that the business users can do? So you can see some of the examples are shown over here. What is the value of orders, whether it has increased or not, and also if the orders are down, then why it is down. We can do a little bit of diagnostic analysis also to understand why a certain event had happened, to understand about the fulfillment rate, then accounts receivables, etc. So We'll go a little bit deeper into this. Now, this pre-built template app with respect to order to cash, it covers the 4 different stages, right? First is the orders that are received. Second, which is the fulfillment, where we take a certain organization takes its products and then, let's say, ships it to the customer. Third comes the billing, that is the invoice that is raised for the products that is shipped. And fourth, receivables, that is finally the uh, price or the money that is received for the invoice that was raised. Now, this dashboard gives a very high level overview on some of the important KPIs with respect to each of these 4 stages. Now, as a user, they can come and look at there are different trends that are available. So if a user wants to focus on, let's say, a particular set of months where the fulfillment has been suddenly dropped, they can select that, and now you can see the other KPIs and the charts also changes. So it's a responsive dashboard, and we can do more deep dive analysis as well. And another very big advantage with ClickSense is the flexibility to filter on any data. So I can just come here, and if I want to just focus on, let's say, Germany, I can just like a Google search, just come and type here the key phrase of Germany, and now I can decide whether I want to look at Germany as a filter from country bill to or ship to. You can make a selection, and then the dashboard immediately changes. So the flexibility is there on applying any filter that is required, not just dependent on the filters that are already available on the dashboard. Now we can go to any specific areas of these 4 different parts of the order to cash. Maybe if we take the receivables, we go to the days sales outstanding. Now this pie chart shows a very interesting trend where you can see that almost 31.5% of the orders, the day sales outstanding, that is for the payments, the number of days, the delay has happened more than 180 days. You can see is the case for close to 32% of the orders, which is very high, right? Now you would want to focus on which are those orders. So we make a selection over here, and coming down clearly tells us which are the customers that have delayed the payment by a lot. And there are some really worrying trends where the day sales outstanding has really crossed multiple years. So now we have made this observation, but how do we ensure that in future, if there are any very long days of outstanding for payments is there, we get to know it immediately. So that is where a user can come to any of the charts, and we can set an alert saying that I want to get an alert. We want an alert based on the day sales outstanding. So we can just remove the other measures. So I have the day sales outstanding over here saying that now whenever a company has a DSO or delays the payment by more than DSO greater than, let's say, 180 days, or let's say even 120 days, then send an alert. So this will ensure that now we found there are customers where they have taken multiple years, 1,000 days are there since the payment is pending, right? So in future, we can take a proactive action that as soon as the DSO crosses 120, we get an alert so that we can immediately go and check with that particular customer to release the payments. And this alert can be sent directly to the mobile or also as an email. Now we have set the alert, but something has to be done on all these delayed, all these customers who have delayed the payment by a lot. So what I'll do is I have to inform the person who's responsible for the for getting the for basically the receivables. So I can go to the notes section over here and add a comment, just like how we do it in a social media platform, right? We want to inform something to someone, we tag them. So I'll just put a note over here saying that hi DSO, and I'll tag the person whoever is responsible for handling the receivables, right? So I can tag that person and then say that these customers have very high DSO. Please check and take this particular insight and add it to the note. Now, what will happen is, as soon as I tag this person will get a notification to their mobile as well as email saying that the user has tagged you in a comment and then has left this particular comment saying that the very high DSO is there. And this happens in real time. When I say real time, as soon as that person is tagged, they'll get a immediate notification. Sorry about that. Let me just reshare my screen. So they'll get an immediate notification to their mobile. So this will ensure that any action that has to be taken can be done immediately, because sometimes some of the actions that would be required will be in a real-time action. For example, if the inventory is down and we are getting more and more orders, we can't delay the action of placing new orders by a day or 2 days, right? We may want the person who's responsible for the procurement to act immediately. Same way, in this case, we found that there are very outstanding payments. There are a lot of outstanding payments, and we want to act on it immediately. So when we tag that particular person, we ensure that the action that is required for clearing the payments is also immediately taken. So that's how we ensure that there is a good collaboration between different users. We can also go one step further, and for example, if we go to our the initial dashboard, this had some of the important KPIs, right? We can also say here that this entire dashboard is something very important. So I want to get a regular update. When I say update, a report, this dashboard needs to be sent at a periodic time to my email ID, for example, without even coming to the dashboard directly. So this will be sent out as a PDF form to the particular user who is subscribing to this particular sheet. So you can come here and say subscribe to sheet, give a description, and then schedule saying that every week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at this particular time, I want this dashboard to be sent as a report directly to my email ID. So this will ensure that even if the user does not come to the dashboard, they can still track whatever is happening with respect to the entire order to cash flow. And finally, the focus is also there on when if any of the users want to make their own analysis, that is also possible, where with Qlik Sense they can build their own set of dashboards and KPIs very quickly. So that there comes the self-service part. So if I want to build my own analysis, not just rely on the existing templates that are provided as part of the order to cash, then that customization can also be done, because some organizations may want to build new analysis apart from what we already provide as part of the order to cash template. So this is also quite easy. You can simply drag and drop the fields that are necessary for analysis, like what I'm showing over here, and the charts can be very quickly built. So this also gives the flexibility to customize and use whatever fields are necessary for the organization's own analysis to be done. So summarizing the entire flow, first, using the pre-built templates of replicate, where we had all the extractors that are relevant to the order to cash analysis, those extractors were already loaded into or already listed in the replicate to move the data from the SAP source into the Snowflake target. Once we moved the data into the Snowflake, the model was already readily available as part of the accelerator, and the business names were also added for easy understanding, and the SQL queries were also generated to quickly build the data warehouse as well as the data marts. And if a user wanted to analyze on, let's say, account receivables or sales orders, then the corresponding data marts were also readily available. Those data marts are then consumed into the BA layer, and the users can make the analysis using these set of uh, ready-made dashboards to analyze the orders, fulfillment, billing, and receivables to make the analysis. Or if they want to make their own set of custom analysis, then they can also build their custom dashboard using simple drag and drop. So this is how we help to cut down on some of the repetitive or the standard SAP uh, uh, works that are available, and we provide the ready-made templates for it, so that the time that is taken to build make the development is cut down, and you can just plug this entire accelerator into your SAP system and start making the analysis. So back to you, Shiva.
Thank you, Ashwath. Right. Thanks for the detailed demonstration, Ashwath. This is a quick summary of whatever is there in the demo. Like we have started with the SAP extractor. Once the extraction is completed, we have make use of Qlik Compose to automate the data warehouse. There is a pre-built data model. There are ETL mappings which is already there in place, and based on the business need or customized data mart can be created, which we have created few data marts, which is available as part of the plugin. And from there, the consumption is also explained with respect to Qlik. Similarly, we can consume it from Power BI also. That's also available as part of the accelerator. Quickly moving on. The next thing is like, so what is the main advantage, or what can I get? What is the benefit which I am getting when I use the accelerator? That will be the next question after seeing the accelerator, right? To answer that, it will be like, in general, SAP standard implementation will be used by 70% of the customer, and 30% will be customized to their business need. The accelerator, whatever we have seen so far, will cover this 70% of the solution. So the time and cost involved in setting up the data platform will be drastically reduced when we make use of the accelerator. For example, if typical implementation will take around 4 to 6 months of timeline, especially with SAP integrating with any other source system, any other ERP, it will increase the timeline. In general, we will see a timeline of around 4 to 6 months, whereas this standard SAP accelerators can be implemented within a duration of 2 weeks. So there is a drastic reduction in the time, which is directly impacting the cost and the other resource utilization also. That is one of the biggest advantage. And the ease of use. We can customize the accelerator as we want. We can create any other data warehouse or any data marts can be created, or from the consumption side also we can do things on our own. So this is the key advantage of this accelerator. Next, we have listed down few of the accelerator which is available. So in the demo, we have covered order to cash. Apart from order to cash, we do have accelerator for financial analytics, inventory management, and procurement to pay. So we have listed down the functional area which is covered as part of this accelerator. So everything is like a plugin. We can deploy and start using. That's how we can make use of the accelerator, right? And so far we have seen things which is related to SAP, and it's not like Qlik, replicate, or QD is restricted only to SAP. It's like we can extend the capability to multiple other ERP or to any other relational database or mainframe or file system. We have listed down the source endpoints and the target endpoint, which is supported as part of QDA. We call it as endpoint. So these are all the supported endpoints from the source side and the target side. Source in the sense we can connect and read the data, and target in the sense we can load the data. It support both on-prem and cloud servers. This is the high-level supported interface where QDA can help the customer in building the analytics. So that's all related to the capabilities or the use case of QDA. So we have few slides which talks about the capabilities of GainInsights. It's like as you see, we are there in the market for around more than 10 years, and we deal only with data. So I'm just quickly moving on. It's like we'll like to highlight few things. Like this is the methodology which we generally follow. Right from the identification of the source system, we'll identify how to ingest the data and how to prepare the data processing and the consumption layer. So this is how the data transformation journey will happen, and this is how we are doing it. That's what is given in the slide. And these are some of the key clients across the globe, across the domain which we have supported. So we have mentioned few of the client names here. And that's the end, and the floor is open for the Q&A. You can raise your hands, or you can post your queries in the chat. And I'm letting you know that the poll is open. We do have certain questionnaire. You can share your feedbacks or your thoughts on that also. Yes, Abhinay. Yeah. So I have enabled your mic. You can probably share your question, or you can share it in the chat also.
Yeah, I think she has put it in the chat. Sorry, I think that's Shiva. Abhinaya, please go ahead. You can put it in the chat, or you can also spell it out.
Right. Can we store or load the data in S3 by partition like Backend? Yeah, this is very much possible. We can create partition in S3 and we can store data. Simple answer is this is doable. Right.
Okay, I think it will be easier if the questions are put in the chat window so that we can address one by one. I see a question from Shanmuga Sundaram. SAP extractor need to procure or it comes as a package? It comes along with the replicate. So when you purchase replicate and if you are using SAP solutions, then the order to cash, inventory analytics, procure to pay, or financial analytics, these different accelerators are will be already available. So you need not make a separate procurement of. Can we integrate additional data sources in Qlik Compose? For example, SAP customer details to Salesforce customer. It is very much possible. So, like Shiva mentioned, right, one of the key challenges that we address is we'll be able to integrate SAP data with the non-SAP data. Now, the approach will go like we can take the data from SAP. I'll explain with the example what we just showcased to you. We did a ELT approach, not an ETL approach. We extracted the data, landed it in Snowflake, and then did the transformation using Compose. Same way, what we can do, we can extract the data from SAP, land it into Snowflake. We extract the data from Snowflake. I'll repeat it again. We extract data from SAP and put it in Snowflake. Same way, we can extract the data from Salesforce and again put that also into Snowflake. Now, both SAP data as well as Salesforce data are available in Snowflake. Now, using Compose, then we can build the model to integrate both Salesforce data as well as SAP data. So that is definitely possible. Can I get the balance to bill and balance to dispatch details? Yes, this would be this part of the some of the standard uh, fields and the measures that would be available. So it can be definitely done. Also, one more thing is that as part of this accelerator or the templates, as I showed you in the demo, we are ready-made. We are providing some of the calculations. But in case you want to do any custom calculations on top of that, that is also possible. Like I showed you through the simple drag and drop how we build the chart. Same way, any new calculations can also be very easily done through the GUI. It will be very easy even for a business user because they need not know any coding to create any new calculations. I remember Abhinaya had a question earlier. If you can put it in the chat, Abhinaya, it will be helpful for we can quickly respond to it. Okay. Please feel free to ask any queries. Okay. Can I? So, Hari, I got your question. So, any custom calculation, any calculations that we want to do, right? We'll be able to achieve it either in the compose layer, that is through the predefined set of uh, calculations like that we showed you through the all the data marts and all that. We can most of the queries or the calculations that will be with respect to order to cash will already be there. But any new calculations, let's say for example, let's assume that you have asked about the order aging details, right? So let's assume that it is not ready-made available in the template. But if it is required, that data will anyway already be brought in. Just the calculation will not be created probably in the template, right? Then we can create that new calculation either in the data mart layer or in the Qlik Sense layer. That new calculation can be created. So any new calculation or any scenario that we want, we can create it either in the data model layer or in the BA layer. So order aging details, to answer your question, yes, we'll be bringing all the order to cash data, so we can do that. Okay, Abhinaya's question, we already have SAP interface with Qlik Sense and we do existing develop apps. So what you can probably do, Abhinaya, is that we have, if you have already built it, then great with the SAP data that you have. Probably you can also just try to understand if you are using again an order to cash kind of analysis that is being done. You can take this app as a reference and then see what from this order to cash Qlik Sense template app can be reused or created in your customers environment. So through that, if any, probably that will help to add more analysis to whatever you have on top of whatever you have already built.
Just adding to what Ashwath has mentioned, I do understand that you are having a Qlik Sense app. You can make use of this accelerator or this tool to set up a data platform. Currently, you are consuming it from SAP directly. That's how I understood it. Instead of that, you can have a data platform in place where Qlik is one of the consumer connecting to this data platform and get the data. Tomorrow, you can do any sort of analytics. An AI program or ML program can run on top of the data. So you can leverage the capability in that way also.
Right, complex transformations can be possible in Compose. Compose has its own set of functions that are available for the transformations. If you are already doing it in Qlik Sense, then I would suggest you can continue doing it in Qlik Sense itself. But yes, transformations can be done in Compose as well. See, the customization, how feasible it is, again, it depends upon what level of customization that you want to do. But one thing I can tell for sure is that uh, it will not take a very large turnaround time. If you are, let's say, you already have application in place, right? Like you said, you already are connected to SAP and you built a Qlik Sense app. So further customization should not take a lot of time, but again, depends on how much of customization. If you want to get an alert on top of existing Qlik Sense app, yes, you can. Currently, if you have Qlik Sense, then you can also get alerting on top of it, and you can integrate Qlik Sense and alerting to set the alerts on top of it. I think we are running close to the end time. Uh, Maybe one question or
And I think we are good to close the session. And please feel free to share our questions. We will you definitely. We believe that you are having our email ID info@gaininsights.com. You can share the questionnaire post the session also. We are happy to answer your question, and if there is a case-to-case discussion, we are ready to have the discussion also. Thanks for joining the session.